This is a little video on 1-52 and 1-54 classwork, dealing with domain and range and a little bit of trying to figure out some of this, what they're asking us on 1-52, how to estimate on the graph. So we have a graph here on 1-52, and it says we want to find y when x is -4. So I'm going to go to my graph to where x is -4, and I'm going to draw a line. Okay, let me get a lighter line. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line where x is -4. This is where x is -4. And I want to know, where does it cross? So it looks like it crosses here. So I'm going to estimate what the y value is. So this would be -1, -2, -3, -4. So it looks like it's a little beyond -3.5. So maybe I'm going to say, instead of -3.5, maybe I say -3.6, or maybe you think it's -3.7. We're going to just do an estimation. Okay, so I'm going to say that this point right here is about a -3.6. So y equals -3.6. On the next one, I want to figure out what y is when x is 1. So I'm going to come over here, and I want to look and figure out when x is 1. So I go to 1 on my x. Let me just focus this a little more. I go to 1 on my x, and you see it touches right there, and it touches right there. So let me get those 2 points. I'll do it in purple this time. So it touches right here, and it touches right here. So it crosses twice here. So we have 2 different y values when x is 1. We have 1, 2, so this is going to be 2. And then down here, -1, -2, -3. Okay, so 2 and -3. So y equals 2 and y equals -3. Now the next one, we're going to be looking when x is 4. So let me come over here. Let me get my yellow again. And I'm going to go to where x is 4. And I'm going to be drawing my line across once, across twice, across 3 times. It actually crosses 3 different times. I'm going to get 3 different y values. So let's say I do this one in this kind of teal color. So it crosses here, it crosses here, it crosses here. So a couple of these I'm going to have to estimate. This one's nice. I can see that that's when my y is 0. This one would be -1, -2. It's in between -2 and -3. I'm going to say maybe it's about a -2.3. I'm just approximating. Okay. And up here, so this is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say maybe it's about a +3.4. So here I'm going to say 0. Here I'm going to say 3.4. And down here I'm going to say about a -2.3. Those are going to be my y values. Okay. So y equals 0. Y equal -2.3. Again, I'm approximating that. You might think it's a little higher or lower. And then I said about a 3.4. Okay. Now it says, is this relationship a function? Well, I drew 3 vertical lines here. Here, it looks like it is a function, but as this line's going across, you see here, it touched in 2 spots. If it touches anywhere in more than 1 spot, it's not a function. Then over here, it was 3. So this is not a function. Might have started looking like one here, was not when we got here, still wasn't, okay? So we're gonna say, is this a function? No. Some x's have more than one y. Okay, so again, we saw that with this one, we ended up with 2 different y's for this one x, and here we had 3. So it's not a function. Okay, your vertical line crossed more than 1 spot on the graph. Okay, and 1-54, okay. So on this one, it says, now examine g of x. So g of x is really just the same as what we were talking about. They're just calling this g. Is g of x a function? How can you tell? So as I come over here, and if I'm taking a vertical line, pretend this is my vertical line, and as it's going across, you'll notice that everywhere as it's moving, it's only going to cross one spot. So this is a function. Function, I'm going to say by vertical line test. And I'm going to say each x has only one y. Okay, because every x would be a vertical line, and if that crossed more than one spot, that would mean that you had more than one y, like we did in the problem above. Then it says which values have points on the graph, which x values have points on the graph. That is, what is the domain? So domain is your x's. It's how far to the left the graph goes and how far to the right the graph goes. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, and I'm going to refocus this. And the furthest to the left the graph goes, okay, the furthest to the left the graph goes, let me just use, I'm going to use yellow temporarily. The furthest to the left the graph goes is right here. So the furthest to the left it went was -2. The furthest to the right the graph goes is right here at 4. So it goes from -2 to 4, and it included -2, and it's going to include 4. So what that means is when we're doing domain, if, or range, if your point, the endpoints are on the graph, it's open circle, they're included, you're going to do a square bracket. And this was from -2 to 4, square bracket. If it had been an open circle, I would use a parenthesis. Okay, this is open, and you can have open on one side and close on the other. This would be closed. Okay, and the last one, actually there's 2 more here. What are the values, what are the outputs for g of x for the y's? Okay, so that's the y's. This is called the range. So again, x's are your domain, y's or your output is your range. So now let me take those yellow lines off. Let me just get my eraser. Okay. And this time for range, when I want y's, I want high to low. How low does the graph go? So it stops here. Okay, and it's going to be closed because that is a closed dot. And it goes all the way up here to the top. So the lowest it goes is here at -1. And the highest it goes up here is 3. Okay, so it goes -1 to 3. So let me write that down. Okay. So it's going to be closed bracket, -1, again, because it was a closed dot. Open dot would have been a parenthesis. We call that open. And then it went to 3 again. You may not see the dot, but there's graph there, so it is included. Okay, that is your range. Then it says Rookie thinks that the range of g of x is -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, looking at this, yeah, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Is he correct or incorrect? He is wrong. The reason is he is wrong. It's not just, I'm going to say not. It is not just -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. It is also the values in between. Okay, so I want you to make sure that you get this on your paper, okay, after you watch the video, and submit it. These are going to be easy points for you, but I wanted to make sure that we got through domain and range and you understood how to find a particular X or Y from the graph.